Hi, welcome to Verbling. My name is Hamish, and in this hour we are going to take a look at questions that would be a good idea to prepare for if you have a job interview with an English-speaking company. That's to say, perhaps you have gone to an English-speaking country and you're interviewing for a job there. Perhaps you're having an interview on the phone. Perhaps you're having an interview on Skype, kind of like what we're doing right now. Or perhaps it's an English-speaking company that has a base in your own home country, and you're looking for a job or a position or an opportunity or a contract with them. So we're going to look at those questions, and in particular today in this class we're going to look at the kinds of questions interviewers ask when they're wondering, will you fit in? So for example, you've submitted your CV or your resume and you have great skills, great experience, but they're also looking to see, well, because maybe there are 10 other people with the same level of skills and experience, so they're looking for something extra, and they're looking perhaps a character or personality, but really they're looking at probably looking at working style and communications, how you collaborate with people, how you get things done, and whether you're going to be a good fit with everyone else in that organization. And they're asking themselves that question, whether they're a small company with 20 people or if they're a very large organization with 20,000 people. That question is still there, it's still relevant, so good to prepare confident answers with specific examples to give when they ask you these types of questions. Now, I put those questions on the information attached to the class description. Now, let me just put these in here before everyone arrives. We have got number 1, tell me about yourself. Number 2, let me copy and paste this. I'm putting these in the Verbling chat box. Here's number 2. What kind of people do you find it difficult to work with? And number 3, yes, I'd like to practice this one with you as well. Number 3, how do you influence people to accept your ideas? So those are the questions. Hey, as you know, these first couple of minutes are for Verbling Premium users to get in there and reserve their spot. Once that green Join Class button lights up, you can join us here in class. So yes, I tell you what, let's say hello to the people who are here with me in class, and then we'll get started. Okay, nice one. Let me say first of all hello to Alejandro. Hello, Alejandro.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to class. This is going to be an intermediate to advanced.
That was strange. I had a bit of interference there. Alejandro, can you hear me okay? Yeah, no, I can't hear you. If you want to try unmuting that microphone. Maybe that's what the problem is. Let me see. Alejandro, I'm going to give you a minute to... the sound is terrible. Let me see. 1 second. I'm going to knock that out. While we're here, let me say hello to... It's really bad sound, isn't it? Talita, how are you today?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Can you hear me clearly, or is it distorted?
No, I think it's Alejandro microphone. I think.
Right. Okay. Oh, that's good. Oh, yes,
but
you're right.
I hear you clearly.
Okay. No, I appreciate that. Thank you. I think you're right. I think, yeah, Alejandro, we're getting some bad sound from you. So if you can, let me see. I think I have a link that you can follow. Let's see. Yeah. Alejandro, this one's for you. I'm going to put this in the Verbling chat box, and if there are problems with the sound, then yeah, there we go. If there are problems with the sound, you can check out that Google link. But yeah, we're going to have to keep muting you for the moment because it's causing havoc with my sound right now. Let me say hello to everyone else here in the classroom, and we'll get started. Talita, I'm sorry, I was neglecting you there. How are you today?
I'm really fine. I'm here with my cat.
Good to see the cat. Very handsome cat as well.
Yeah, he's the male here.
Well, and I think someone has to be in every home. I mean, I'm actually not the male in my house. The big black and white cat is also the male in the house. Okay, so the cat's doing well, and you're well as well. Everything's
Yes. I'm going to have a English course in 2 hours.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm here to practice more.
Excellent. And is that something you're doing? Is that something online, or is that something that you go to a live class?
I don't get you.
Sure. The course that you're doing in 2 hours' time, is that on the internet, or are you going to a
No,
live classroom?
it's an institution.
Excellent. That sounds really good. And okay, well, I hope we get some good practice before your other class this evening. All right. Good to see you, Talita. Thanks for joining us. Let me say hello to Emre. Hello, Emre.
Hello. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
All right. Good to see you in class. Welcome back to class, Emre. Let me say hello to Inga. Hello, Inga.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm good, well. What about you?
I'm pretty good. Inga, tell me, where are you from?
I'm originally from Russia, but currently I'm living in Armenia.
Okay, well, welcome to Verbling. Welcome to this class. Inga, tell me, are you looking for a job at the moment?
No, I work.
And what do you do?
I work as a risk manager in a bank.
Okay. Getting a lot of strange sounds in my classroom today. I'm going to try and just cut off some of the sound there. Okay, well, it's good to have you in class. I'll take a note of that, and I hope we get some good practice with you today, Inga. Thank you for that. All right. Let me also say hello to Carlos. Hello, Carlos.
Hello. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you today?
Fine. A little bit tired, but fine.
Okay. Well, tired is okay. That's not too big a problem. Carlos, remind me. Are you looking for work at the moment?
No. I'm studying.
Okay. What are you studying?
Oh, I'm studying. Well, I'm studying psychology, and I don't know how to say it. It's like philology or Spanish philology.
All right. As in like linguistics, the study of the language, or yeah. Okay. Oh, that's really interesting. Both of those together. Okay. Well, welcome to class. Actually, before we move on, I mean, you're studying these things. What do you want to do, Carlos, when you've finished your studies?
I'm thinking about teaching Spanish in the U.S. And to be an actor too.
Okay. Well, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, to become an actor, absolutely. Welcome to class. Good to see you here, Carlos. I hope we get some good practice for you today. And let me say hello to is it Mao? Is that right? I need you to turn on that microphone, Mao. Sorry. If there's a button in the top right of your screen, if you click on the microphone, you'll unmute it, and so we can hear you. Yeah, I can't hear you yet. That's better.
Everybody.
That's much better. So how do I say your name, please?
My name is Mohammed.
Mohammed, okay. And where are you from?
I'm from Cameroon.
Cameroon. Welcome to class. It's really great to see you here on Verbling.
Thank you.
Tell me, do you work or do you study? What do you do?
I'm student at Master 2 and mathematics and applied mathematics. And now I'm doing internship at Crédit Agricole Consumer Finance in France.
Okay, right. That's very cool. Well, welcome to class. I hope you get some good practice with us today. Nice to see you. All right, let me see. I'm going to say hello to Alex. Hello, Alex. How are you? Oh, I can't hear you yet, Alex. Yeah, if you unmute that microphone, we should be able to hear you. Yeah. There's the button on your screen. If you hit the unmute button, we can hear you. But not yet. We'll come back to you. We'll come back to you, Alex. If you manage to unmute that button, I'll be glad to speak with you. Hey, Alejandro, how's the sound with you? Oh, that sounds a lot better.
Yeah, it's okay now.
Okay, I'm very glad. I'm very glad.
Okay.
How are you doing today?
Fine, really cool, thank you. And you?
Pretty good, pretty good. I wanted to ask you, 11 minutes ago, but Ali, tell me, are you working? Are you studying at the moment?
Recently, I quit for my job.
Oh, you quit your job? Okay.
Yeah. Now looking for a new job because I recently operated.
And what kind of job? What kind of job are you looking for?
Something with telecommunication or programming, something like that.
All right. Okay. Fabulous. Let me go back to. I lose track here at one moment. I want to say hello to Alex again. I think the sound is better with you now.
Okay.
Yeah. Now we can hear you. All right. There we go. I just want to confirm that we can hear you. If you want to speak. Everybody, if you're not talking, please mute that microphone so that we reduce the noise to a minimum. But of course, if you want to talk, we will. Well, that's the point. That's the point of the class, right? So, hey, let's get started. So today we're looking at job interview questions, and we are looking at questions where the interviewer is thinking, well, okay, the skills are fine, the qualifications, the experience, these are all good, but we also want to check that the person looking for this job is going to be a good fit with our organization, okay? And I listed those 3 questions, and again, they're in the chat box. We've got a tell me about yourself question. We've got what kind of people do you find it difficult to work with? And question number 3, how do you influence people to accept your ideas? Now, all of these have something in common. The first one is the best interview question to prepare for in the world, really, because it's if you have an interview with an English-speaking company, it is very, very, very likely that they'll ask you that opening, tell me about yourself question, and that's an opportunity for you to give them any answer you like. Of course, I'd recommend that you tell them something about yourself that solves part of their employment problem, that tells them, that gives them an example, that gives them evidence that you're the right person for the job. But we also have, what kind of people do you find it difficult to work with? How do you influence people? And these questions, rather, not so much about skills and experience, but about your working style and about how you get on and maybe how you don't get on with some people. But these are important questions, and these are things that employers need to know about before they feel comfortable enough to offer you that job. So yeah, skills, experience, fantastic. You're not going to get a job if you don't have the necessary skills to get that job. But more than that, you are also going to need to demonstrate that you are someone with good interpersonal skills, good communicative skills, good collaborative skills. In short, that you are someone who can get along with other people and can achieve results with other people as well. I want to look at number 2 because it seems like it might be a difficult question or a trick question. The second question, and let me put that in the box again. What kind of people do you find it difficult to work with? Let's be honest. What do you think? What kinds of people do you find it difficult to work with? If we're just being honest here in class, tell me, what are the kinds of people that you don't like working with?
People who are not open-minded, I think.
Okay, so let me put the opposite of that, which is narrow-minded, right?
The dishonest people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not responsible.
Yeah.
Not responsible. So what's the opposite of? Or how do we say that? We've got
Irresponsible.
There we go. Irresponsible. Mm-hmm. Very nice. I like the list. What else have we got?
Stillborn.
I'm sorry?
Stillborn.
Oh, stubborn. Okay, I like stubborn. What does stubborn mean?
Never change her opinion, her or his opinion, even when she's clearly wrong.
I think I know the one you mean. I think I know the person you mean, in fact. Stubborn. And that's an interesting word because stubborn, I mean, is that positive or negative if we call someone stubborn?
Negative.
It's negative, yeah. But these characteristics, someone who doesn't change, someone who keeps the same view or keeps to the same track, maybe, we might think of that as a positive characteristic. If we could say single-minded meaning someone who can be consistent, who can be strong in the face of opposition. So it's an interesting one. Of course, if we're calling someone stubborn, then I guess we don't like the fact that they never change their ways. Mm-hmm.
Narrow-minded and stubborn is synonyms. Are the same? Have the same meaning, or?
Well, they're close. I mean, we know they're both negative. They're both things that in general we don't like. I would say, I mean, stubbornness is if we're just thinking about this right now, I think stubbornness is an unwillingness to change, and narrow-mindedness is an unwillingness to listen to new ideas. Mm-hmm. So they're close. I don't think they're synonyms because they're different enough, but they're clearly both negative. Clearly both things that perhaps we're not wanting to work with people like that. Is there anything else?
Impolite persons.
Very nice, very nice. Let's put impolite. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Okay. I like our list. Now.
Irritable. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, let's put that one in there. We've got irritable. Sorry, irritable. Okay, we've got 4 syllables. So where's the stress?
Irritable.
we can spend the whole class on this word. I love it. We're going to hit the start. Okay. So irritable.
Irritable.
Yeah, that very first sound, that that's the stress. Irritable.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Irritable.
Yeah. And hey, if you're British like me, you'll probably want to hit that T. So irritable. But for a more American sound, we'll soften that D, give it more of a D, and we can say irritable. Same word, same meaning, and they're both correct. I mean, we have a British pronunciation and American pronunciation. Of course, the same word. Yeah. I've got some other suggestions there. We've got a false or a fake person, and perhaps someone who is pretending to be something else. Yes, I've got sound from you, Alex. I need to mute that microphone there to cut out some of that sound. Okay. All right. Oh yeah, I like that one as well. We have a list of great words. Of course, the difficulty is, or the question is, if we're asked this question, when we're asked this question in a job interview, which of these adjectives are we going to use? Which is the best one, do you think? Are all of these okay? If someone says, what kind of people do you find it difficult to work with? I mean, are all of these good to use as an answer, do you think?
No.
Or which ones are bad then? I want to know.
Too boring. I think it's a strong word,
Mm-hmm.
It's a word that impolite, I think.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. I know. I appreciate the suggestion. Stubborn's really okay. I mean, it's of course it's suggesting a negative. These are all negative characteristics. It's not a rude word or an impolite word. We can use it. It's fine. And of course, sometimes we could describe ourselves as stubborn if we want to be seen as again that person who is single-minded, someone who has a very strong character. And people can't change our mind. We could say, "Oh, I'm proud to be stubborn." In fact, but again, maybe we don't want to. If the question is, I find myself with the question. Oh yeah, what kind of people do you find it difficult to work with? Maybe stubborn isn't the best one. Which, I mean, Talita, let me come to you. If you were asked this question, which word would you use? What kind of people are most difficult for you to work with, do you think?
I think more open-minded. I think.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And why?
Yeah, why is it difficult to work with them?
I don't know. I love to express myself, and I hope that other people listen to me, not accept my idea, but listen to me and understand my point of view, and say and talk to me about this. Talk with me about this.
Okay. I think that sounds very fair. Okay, so we've got our narrow-minded person, our person who's not listening to our point of view. Well, that sounds fair enough. Let me just check our list because we have so many great words there. Dishonest, irresponsible, impolite, irritable, of course. Yes, irritable can be kind of hard to work with, can't it? Well, that's interesting. Did we have lazy? I don't see lazy there. Oh, there we go, Alex. You gave it the person who is lazy for everything. So we have lazy people. I mean, if I say that, if I say, if someone asks me, oh, what kind of people do you find it difficult to work with, and I say, well, lazy people. Is that okay for me to say that?
It's for me or?
For anybody. Okay. Sorry, yeah.
I will let other people
okay.
answer this. I'm talking too much.
Not at all, but what does everybody think? If I go with lazy people, is that a good choice?
Employing lazy people, or
no? If the question, Alejandro and everybody here, if the question is what kind of people do you find it difficult to work with?
Okay.
And if I say lazy people, is that okay? Is that okay for an answer?
But
with
I'm
respective people.
Victor?
Yes, with people who doesn't respect your opinion if your opinion is different to his opinion.
Okay, and I like that example as well. I think it's of course that's a different one from lazy. Yes, people who don't respect your opinion. Is that Alex? Let's see. Sorry, I'm just trying to. A lot of noise today, so I'm sorry. I'm trying to cut down on the interference there. I'm going to suggest lazy people as a pretty good one. Whatever we choose, we're going to choose something that doesn't offend the interviewer. That of course that doesn't risk being something that the interviewer believes themselves to be, right? So, for example, we don't want to say, oh, I can't work with people who take their job too seriously if it turns out the interviewer is absolutely someone who takes their job very seriously. So we have to be careful. We have to make a judgment and be a little bit strategic about the kinds of people we criticize here. Now, I think I would suggest if we use the example of lazy people, well, I don't know anyone who I've ever worked with who said, oh yeah, I'm the lazy one, absolutely. So if we give an example like that, I don't think anyone would disagree. I don't think anyone would say, oh, I'm very lazy and I'm offended by that. So that's quite a safe one to go with. I like actually, to be honest, I like all the examples you've given me. I like all these adjectives. We've got, there's blinkered as well. Blinkered, impolite, arrogant, fake, false, irritable, impolite, stubborn. All of these are really great. If we're answering the question, it's also good to talk about, well, why? Why don't we like working with these people? And it's good to talk about the consequences. If you're working in a team and someone doesn't respect your opinion, someone doesn't listen, and Talita, you talked a little bit about that frustration when someone doesn't respect your opinion or someone isn't actually listening to your point of view, and that can be very damaging. for a team, and it's okay for us to talk about that, right? Because the question really is, who do you find it most difficult to work with? So it's really just first of all, they want to check that you have a similar view in terms of, what kind of characteristics are good in a team and part of an organization. But they're also going to ask another question. If we go with let's go with lazy. Okay, let's go with as in I don't like working with lazy people. What if we give that answer? What is the interviewer going to say next? What next question might they ask?
Probably don't why.
Again, please.
Probably he don't ask you why you don't like working with lazy people.
Yeah, I think you'll know exactly. It's and that's the great thing about lazy, because no one is going to say, really, I love working with lazy people. So we know the next question. I think Talid is absolutely right. They're not going to ask, well, why do you not like working with lazy people? Because it's obvious. So if they're not asking that, what do you think they might ask next?
Or maybe they will just say like, I won't give any other question as you are too lazy to answer. So no more questions. Just like
they might do that. That seems quite cruel, but you never know. There are some quite harsh interviewers around who would say something like that.
Or are you hard work?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They might ask that. They might ask for for you to demonstrate if you're a hardworking person.
Yes.
My guess. If they ask you a question about who don't you like working with, then either they're going to ask you, well, who do you like working with? But also, more importantly, if they ask the question, who don't you like working with, and you say lazy people, arrogant people, blinkered people, all these things, then the next question in my head is, well, what do you do? If you start work here and you're in a team and someone's lazy, what do you do about that? So what do we say? I know lazy was my example, so let's go with impolite. If someone in your team is impolite, and you've just said, oh, I hate working with impolite people who are rude, and so the interviewer's next question is, well, what do you do? What do you do if you're in a team with a rude person, with an impolite person? How do we answer that?
I try to understand him, and I will say I try to understand him and give her the good answer or the good manner to live in a team.
Mm-hmm.
To explain him how to live in a team.
Okay, and so what is our first step? I like what you're saying. We need to take some action. So what is the first thing we can do?
Try to calm down, maybe, or for the good of the workers, for the teamwork.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and if we have this person who is rude, who is impolite, and they're a member of our team, how can we help that? How can we try to fix that situation? What action can we take?
We can try to speak with him and explain him the way he works with the rest of the team could be negative to the achieve.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I like really just as simple as that we can go speak to them. If someone is impolite, if someone is rude, I know in my life I have been rude, I have been impolite, and I don't know anyone who has never been impolite. So what are the reasons for someone being rude? What is the explanation for someone being rude? And I can think of lots of them. What do you think?
Maybe because there is something that bothers him.
Okay, for example.
for something you did something with him or her, and
true. Yeah.
that's upset
Mhm.
with him. So
Right. So it might be something direct. Absolutely. So perhaps, well, let's put that down. Perhaps we've offended. Oh, there we go. We've offended him or her, right? Maybe we've done that. What other reasons are there for someone being rude at work?
or he's moody.
Yeah, he might be just moody. But why? Why is that a characteristic? Is rudeness just something that some people are, or are there bigger reasons for rudeness? Do you think?
Maybe he
Yes.
considered that he hasn't enough salary, or he works too much hours.
Now there's two really good ones. Okay, so let's put those down. Maybe he's overworked. You know?
Maybe he get out with the wrong fit.
Yes. Well, what's that expression exactly? We say he got out of bed on the wrong side. Yeah. And I think I like the phrase because I think everybody can have maybe a rude day, maybe a day where we're not feeling that polite, we're not feeling that friendly. I want to put undervalued. I mean undervalued. I put that in the chat box because sometimes if someone isn't paid enough, if their contribution at work isn't valued the way they think it should be valued, well, that can cause people to be a little rude, a little impolite, and especially when we start work in a new company or in a new team, it can be quite difficult at first to know why people are behaving in certain ways. But I've heard the suggestion a couple of times. Let's talk to him, right? Let's talk to him and let's get to know him just a little bit to know why that person is being rude. We've also got another explanation is really just ignorance, because sometimes people, especially if they start work in a foreign country, it's easy to be rude. It's easy to offend without I think that, sorry, there's again some noise there. It's easy to offend without meaning to. Yeah, there are things we can do and things I can do in the United States or the UK that would be considered polite, but then I go to another country and they would be frowned on. So we all need to be careful if we're working in a different culture to make sure we're aware of, what are the things that are acceptable and what are the things that are unacceptable. And so sometimes we just don't know any better. Sometimes we offend people, we're rude without meaning to at all. Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
For example, I don't know how to speak English very well, so sometimes I use word that I know the meaning, but when I use in a sentence, maybe this sentence is a little bit rude. For example, can you explain this again? I think it's a little bit rude because I learned it in my English course that could is more polite, or would you? It's more polite. And sometimes when I use can you, I think, oh my God, I've been rude.
I love the example, and I think that's a great point to make. That especially, of course, you're absolutely right. I should have thought of that myself. When we're speaking a language as a second language, it's much harder, not impossible, not at all, but it is more complicated to judge some of those finer points of language and to know what to say and how to say it. And on that point of can you, could you, would you, yes, we have different levels of making that request. And so absolutely, if someone is speaking English as a second language and they're not sure about something, it's it's easy to make that request in a very direct way. It's easy to say, explain to me, tell me why. And if we're speaking with someone who isn't a friend, a close friend, or someone, if it's someone we don't know very well, and we do that, we say, oh, tell me why, or explain to me, that for some people, that's going to sound quite rude. So yes, because it's a direct request, and the difference between, tell me how to do this, and tell me how to do this is very slight. So it can sound like we're giving a command instead of a request.
Hearing on verbally happens all the time. So if I don't know how to speak something, I made a cute face. Please explain this again.
Ah, yes, and intonation and tone. Absolutely, tone is very important, and of course it can help us out a lot. If because and I think the example, explain that to me. We can say that and we can say that in a rude way, and we can say that in a polite way.
Explain this to me.
Yeah, exactly. And if we like that, then that's okay. But I want to say for Talita and for anyone else, can you is pretty good, okay? Because if we use can you explain it to me, already we are using an indirect form to make that request, and the indirect form in English is just much more polite and much more acceptable, because that question if you ask a teacher, for the first time, oh, can you explain it? We're not saying, do you have the ability to explain it? Because they're the teacher, right? So we're assuming surely that he can explain it, but we're using a modal form and saying, well, can you? And yes, I'm blinded by the light now, but we've got can you, and sure, could you? It's a little bit more polite. Can you is still good, and we have would you as well, and would you that's the mother of politeness. 1 second, so I can close my blinds so I can see you. 1 second.
Okay.
That's a little bit better. Yeah. Sorry, that's the problem with Tennessee, because there's just there's a lot of sunshine. Okay, I'm not going to fix that.
Don't have night in Tennessee. Always when you teach a class, it's always sunny. Oh my God!
I know, it burns. It's just not good for me. This is like Oh, there we go. I'll just use the cat's blanket to cover myself up. You're not going to see me go brown. I'm just going to go red, so it's not very nice. No one wants to see that. Okay, let me see. Yeah, I can't fix that. Okay, well, you know what? It's okay. There we go. I'm just going to move around. Isn't that clever? Isn't that clever that I can do that? Amazing. That's physics right there, isn't it? Goodness me, tremendous.
Go more to the beach.
Yeah. Then I'll have to go to the hospital, unfortunately. So this is not the hour about me. My goodness, what a horrible thought. Oh yes, can you, could you, would you? I mean, that's great language, and not special British English or American English. It's applicable across the board, whoever you're speaking English to. If we have an opportunity to make those requests more polite, simply by making it indirect. And when I say indirect, I mean it's not explain it to me. It's can you, could you, would you? It's if you want someone to open the door, we can say open the door, and we can say it in a nice way, and that's fine with friends and family. But if it's someone you don't know well, or a new person at work, if we say could you, we know he can open the door. It's not, he has the arm, he can do that, right? But can you, could you, would you? It's just that more polite form, and of course people are more likely to want to say yes as well to the indirect form, because it's such a nice way, to say it, and there are higher levels than that as well. Can you, could you, would you? How about I was wondering if you could open the door. I mean, that's know, if you're speaking to the president or the king, maybe, we're getting pretty high up the chain of the polite form to say these things. But can you? Nothing wrong with can you. That's not rude at all. So because you're using that indirect form.
Can I ask you something?
Of course you can. Yeah.
Okay. In English class, I learned that we never can ask you something like this. Are you married? It's better if you say, "Are you married?" You understand
No,
are you married? It's you understand if I say, "Are you oh, sorry. If I say, "You are married," you understand?
Okay, so we have to turn it around. Yeah. So you're yeah. I mean, it's if we say you're married, then as a question, it sounds like surprise. It's like, you're married. Yeah, you could do that.
Okay.
But if you're just asking the question because you want to know the information, then yeah, we're turning it around to are you? And I know that's a pretty strange thing for I think for Spanish and Portuguese, because it doesn't exist. There's no need for that. So that's,
if I use intonation, it's the same.
No, absolutely right. A much better language. I think we should drop the English, really, because you're right. The intonation it makes it very clear, I think. But yes, the most common way to ask the question, are you, do you? That's how we turn it around. That's how we make it into a question. However, most of the time, of course, if the question is if it's a yes/no question, like, are you married? We still need to give it the lift at the end. Yes, are you married? Yeah, it'll do, like that. So for if it's a yes/no question, because are you married, we can't really say, oh, it depends, or sometimes I'm married. It's the yes or no, right? So anything that gets a yes or no answer, we're going to lift up at the end. So we've got the are you, and as soon as we hear are you, we know, okay, it's a question. But that lift at the end, it's important as well for those English ears to know, oh, it goes up, it must be a question. Sorry, a yes/no question. But there are plenty of questions that aren't a yes/no question. For example, where are you from? That's not yes/no, right? There's 1,000 things we could say to where are you from. So that's where are you from? And again, so we go down. So the intonation, I think, is interesting in English, because it depends what kind of answer you're expecting. The way you hit that point at the end. I know that's not what we were meant to talk about at all, was it? But it was interesting. All right. So no, it's no. I was glad to talk about that. That was kind of interesting. If we have a problem with someone in our team, if they're rude, if they're impolite, and we're in a job interview, it's so great to be able to give your view, to talk about the good things to do when you go to work and there's someone, maybe you don't get along with them. Maybe you do think they're irresponsible or lazy or impolite. Most of the time, though, there's a reason for it. They weren't born impolite, and they're probably not impolite 100% of the time. It could be, as we just discussed, it could be a language issue. Maybe they don't know that they're doing it, or maybe they don't know some of those cultural rules, and they don't know they're breaking some of those cultural or social mores, and they're being rude without even meaning to. If we get to know that person, then we have an opportunity to find out, right? And we also have an opportunity to find out if someone is suddenly not working very hard. Maybe they're sick. Maybe their child is sick. Maybe someone in their family is unwell. There could be all sorts of reasons. So to talk about that in an interview and to talk about how you go about getting to know people well enough to make sure you have the best possible team. And I don't mean that we need to go on holiday with everyone at work, or that we need to see each other every night after work for for fun and games, and sharing every aspect of our lives. Not at all, because plenty of things in the workplace are going to be private, and they're going to be off limits. But the last thing an employer wants, well, one of the most annoying things for an employer is when members of staff don't get along, can't communicate, can't work well together. And if you go to your boss and say, oh, I just can't get on with this person, they're lazy, they're stupid, they're impolite, it's a lot of the time, of course, it can reflect quite badly on you as well if you're not making that effort to communicate, to get to know that person. So it's a good thing. They'll often want to know how you get along with people, because we know if you go to work for a company and there's 20 people or 20,000 people, you're not going to like everybody, right? It's just impossible. We're kind of fickle. We're quite fussy, and there are people we like and we get along with. There are people we don't get along with. So important for us to, even when we don't like someone, we still need to, most of the time, we still need to make things work and get along with them. Yeah. All right. Let me have a look. Oh yeah, we talked about language. Language is sometimes a reason for someone maybe sounding rude because they don't know the best way to ask for something. Maybe they don't know the best way to make a comment. They don't know the best way to give feedback, and they can sound very rude depending on the culture that they're in. If we take the example of the United States, for example, if you want to work for an American company, and if a lot of the staff are American, what are the things, if you want to get to know them, what are the good things to talk about? What are the things that are acceptable in American culture to have a conversation about?
Me?
Go, sure.
Good answer.
Of course you
can. I would like to say, for example, when you are trying to enter in an American or European company, it's very common that they ask you about your expectations in the future. Did you understand me?
Yeah.
For example, what is your view of yourself in 5 years? And it's a very common question in the job interviews. And how we can face this kind of questions?
That's a good question, and I want to cover that in a separate class, because it is a very good question. To be honest, to answer it quickly, it's just about demonstrating that you have a career plan. Yeah, because you can be honest about where you see yourself. You can also turn that question around if you give a good answer and say, well, where do you see me? Where do you see this position? And that can give you some interesting and good information about if they're serious about this position, about this job. But that's a really big question, and I don't think we have time to cover the whole thing. Okay, so Alex, if you join me in another class, I'll make sure that we cover that at a future date. Okay, it's a good question.
Okay.
You're right, and it's a common question. I agree with you absolutely. Coming back to our subject. What are the things that are acceptable in American culture if we want to make friends with some of these rude people, but also we want to make friends with everyone that we're working with? What are the things that are good to talk about in the United States?
Great answer.
Maybe call of sport yeah, wait.
Did you say sports?
Sports, yes.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. There's sports. Okay. What else? Because the list of... Sorry, go on.
If you want to start a relationship with a woman, a good topic, I think, it would be start to speak about shopping. If he's a man, about the sports, and if she's a woman...
Oh, that's interesting. An interesting stereotype. And well, of course, it depends what you're shopping for, right? Because I don't know if women like to talk about every single possible thing. I mean, if we're talking about shopping for a car tire, maybe they wouldn't be so interested. And I would be very excited if you were shopping for a car tire. I would love to hear more about that. So shopping, I think, is a broad thing. But let's add shopping to our list, because I think shopping is a good one. It's not much of a list, though, I gotta say. Is there anything else we can add in terms of acceptable topics of conversation? Alejandro, I think I'm getting a lot of noise from you, so let me just cut that out, because it's, again, I think we've had some problem with the sound today with you, and I'm sorry about that. One more thing. What do you think?
About his hobbies?
Hobbies, okay. I'll put hobbies down.
Cinema or reading books.
Okay, we've got hobbies. Well, I'll run through these points another time. I can see that we're not feeling that subject. I've got a third question here. Okay, all the way at the top. Where is it? Goodness me, that's a big scroll to do. Let's see. Can't even go that far. Oh yes, here we go. Question number 3, and again, you know, if we want to practice these questions, let's practice this one. Again, it's about will you fit in? It's about how do you get along with other people? So here's question number 3. How do you influence people to accept your ideas? Okay, I'll say that one again. How do you influence people to accept your ideas? Have a think about that, and then tell me, how do you answer a question like that?
I try to explain my ideas. And we can go to common point.
Okay, and I think that's a good start for an answer like this, absolutely. And I like the common point, and we can talk about sharing goals and sharing objectives. I think that's really positive. What are the most important things? What are the most important things you can do or you should do if you want to influence someone? If you want to change someone's mind about something at work? What are the most important things we need to do?
Talk about the positive points.
Okay. Well. Yeah. Okay. What else?
I think you could try to sell the situation as if the other person will go into to take something on advantage. So some benefits of the same point of view that at the beginning he didn't like too much.
Oh, right. Okay. So there are things. So we can sell the idea. Yeah, we can talk about those positive things, and as you say, well, perhaps the person we're trying to influence, maybe they probably they're going to have some views, right? They're going to talk about, maybe they disagree, maybe they don't like your plan. So what do we do then? I mean, this is, we're trying to change someone's mind. And they're coming up with reasons. Let me give you an example. This is too intangible. I have a great idea in my office. Okay, I've decided that everyone keeps taking their coffee break at the same time. Okay, at 10 o'clock, everyone stops work and they go and have their coffee break. that's basically there's no one to answer the phone at 10 o'clock because everyone's gone, right? And sometimes we have urgent phone calls. So I think we need to stagger the coffee breaks. So I'm going to create a list of names, and you know, so 10 o'clock, 5 past 10, 10, you know, 10, 10, quarter past 10. So everyone is the plan is we're going to take that break at a different time. So there are always people to you know, to be by the phones. You still get your coffee break, right? But you know, you can't take it necessarily at the same time as people. What do you think? Is that idea okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Really, I thought it was terrible.
Really?
I wouldn't. I just couldn't stand that if someone told me when to take my coffee break. But I tell you what, maybe we'll implement it. But if someone comes up with an idea like that, for me personally, I would. My first thought would be, really, I mean, I'm an adult. Are you really telling me when I can take my break? Are you telling me when I can go to the bathroom? Are you telling me when I get to get up and stretch? It seems like quite a patronizing idea. So, and if I'm the one, if I'm objecting to the change, what do we do? Do we just force the idea through, or if someone doesn't like our idea, what do we do about that?
We try to know why the people don't like your idea, and how to change the idea to the person like these changes.
All right. Okay. So maybe someone doesn't like the idea. How do we find out? How do we find out what their problem? How do we find out why they don't like it?
I don't know if I understand you.
Okay. So we're saying, okay, here's a great new idea, and someone says, I don't like it. I don't like the idea. How do we find out what the problem is?
Asking.
Okay, asking, and also listening as well, right? And I think I focus on this point because it is going to be very important for us in a job interview to show those listening skills, to demonstrate that active listening. Yeah. So if we need to persuade someone, and I have to say, I don't know a job in the world where we don't have to persuade someone about something at some point. I think this is an essential skill for most jobs, unless you're working in a dark room somewhere completely by yourself and no one ever speaks to you. And I'm sure there are a handful of jobs like that, but most jobs these days we do rely on the support of other people. We have to collaborate, and a lot of the time we have to ask each other. I have to ask other people to maybe change the way they're doing things. For example, you go into a team, and you want people to, you keep getting all these emails, these little updates throughout the day, and they're distracting. So you go to them and say, okay, can we just have one update email at the end of the day, and I'll read it then, and then we can follow through like that. Well, the truth is, someone might say, well, actually, no, I don't want to do it that way. And they might have a really good reason why they don't want to do it that way. Maybe they're not around at the end of the day. Maybe they have a half day, right? Or maybe they just prefer to communicate with smaller pieces of information. So it's absolutely worth talking about your process for when you have an idea, about how you communicate that idea, but also how you deal with resistance. And how, of course, we mentioned, I think it was Victor who mentioned the importance of selling the idea, but we also need to be able to listen to the resistance, to listen to the reasons why, and not take them too personally, and either to make a change, to compromise, or to find a reason to reassure someone about maybe why that change isn't as bad as they think, or why this idea really is a good one. Yeah. that was, I
sorry.
think it was a good train. Is that a train that's going past just there? That was quite a. I was worried. I was. Yeah.
For the interruption, I want just to tell about one story that I read some days ago about.
Okay, sure.
Then Toyota employees ask their employees about ways to increase their productivity. They didn't get any response from them, but then they tried to rephrase that sentence as, hey, can you think about ways to make your jobs easier? Yes, in that case, they bring up a lot of ways. So you have to know how to ask people about things you have, you want they do for you.
Inga, thank you so much. That is a wonderful example of adjustments we can make. I mean, your example is an adjustment of language. Exactly. They change the way they ask the question. The question's still the same. They still want the same information, but they've changed the language, and all of a sudden, as you say so well, now we're getting responses because we've asked it in a way that makes people think, oh, this will help me. This will help me to answer the question. Again, I think that's really like selling that idea, as Victor pointed out. All right, we're out of time, and I'd love to talk more about the communications and the team working that we need to do, and how we need to demonstrate this in an interview. Thanks so much for your attention and for your discussion and your questions today, and your suggestions. I really appreciate that. Let me finish with the good old Facebook page, because I would love for you to follow me on Facebook, so that you can keep up to date with the classes that I'm running here on Verbling and all of the stuff that I get up to. So if you follow me every weekend, I'll put up my Verbling schedule to let you see a clue on that. There are more job interview classes later this week, so check that schedule. And I'd love to see you again soon. So thank you so much. Have a good day. Have a good night, and I'll see you soon. Thanks a lot. Okay. Bye-bye.